Namo Fa. Thanks for joining me for our daily practice check-in. Listen, listen, listen. This beautiful sound calls us back to our true home. The second mindfulness training. Aware the suffering caused by exploitation, social injustice, stealing, and oppression, I vow to cultivate loving kindness and learn ways to work for the well-being of people, animals, plants, and minerals. I will practice generosity by sharing my time, energy, and material resources with those who are in real need. I'm determined not to steal and not to possess anything that should belong to others. I will respect the property of others, but I will prevent others from profiting from human suffering or the suffering of other species on earth. For our Dharma lesson, we've been reading Beginning Our Day, Volume 2 by the monastics of Abhayagiri Monastery. And today we're reading Pesky Woodpeckers by Ajahn Amaro. When we put up a building, we think it's our building, our Dharma hall, or our kuti, but no one informs the geckos, the lizards, and the other creatures in the forest. They think it's their place too. The woodpeckers were around long before humans showed up in this valley. This is the season when woodpeckers start to gather acorns and drill holes in the buildings, making little cupboards to stash acorns in. When people come along and put up a building, to a woodpecker, it's just a very odd-shaped oak tree. Before our beautiful new office building was even completed, the woodpeckers drilled a nice sequence of holes in this wonderful cedar trim all the way around the building. To a woodpecker, the trim is just a very nice, flat surface for stashing acorns, with no bark or branches to work around. We think, pesky woodpeckers, they shouldn't be ruining our building. But in reality, we've put up this attractive opportunity in their zone, and getting upset and irritated about it is simply proliferation, a story we've added on. As Lungpor Sumedho would often ask, who is being foolish? Is it us or the woodpecker? In Thailand, the rafters in the Dharma hall are great territory for wandering geckos. If a monk gets annoyed because he chooses to sit under the rafters and the geckos defecate on him, whose problem is that? Our habit is to look at the world from a self-centered perspective. My preferences, my priorities. We look at our body in the same way. My body has a right to be totally mobile, completely comfortable, pain-free, and in an environment with the most desirable temperature at all times. When that view gets intruded upon, when there's an infection, when the body is afflicted with a poison oak rash, or when it's too hot or too cold, then we become reactive, and the same self-righteousness arises. This is an intrusion on my space, my time, my convenience. I haven't got time for this. It shouldn't be like this. If we believe those perceptions, then we endlessly create more dukkha for ourselves, this sense of dis-ease and dissatisfaction, because it's just the voice of self-view, isn't it? We don't tend to look at our body as a food source, but it is. It is a collection of organic matter. I never really understood this until I was living in Thailand. At first I was resentful of mosquitoes coming in and feeding on me, but at some point I realized that the body is a large, pungent magnet, like a big supermarket sign advertising a food source where the doors are always open. We don't think of ourselves like that. We think, these darn mosquitoes are annoying me, these flies are landing on me. But if we see that this body is simply a pile of heat-producing organic matter with interesting fumes, it makes sense that it would draw insects to it. If we shift the perspective a little and drop that sense of self-view, then we can similarly drop the burden of resentment, the feeling that life is being unfair. That's the essence of the middle way, shifting from a self-centered view to the view that our bodies, the material world around us, and our minds are all natural systems, not me, not mine. And when we make that shift, when we adopt a view centered on Dharma rather than on the illusion of an independent self, then the world changes quite dramatically. So, we can take care of buildings at the monastery, protect the body from insects, while at the same time not create stress or irritation or the sense of burden that comes with self-view. If we understand that everything is part of the natural order, then invasion from the outside is impossible because everything occupies the same territory. It's all of the same order. With this understanding, the heart relates to it all in a radically different way. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May all beings be at peace. Namo Adita Phat. Thanks so much for joining me today.